Hello, and welcome to the Frivolous and Frugal Knitting Podcast. We're a podcast of two sisters who share our fondness for knitting, the things that we create, and the knitting community that we share it with. And we do it all with a sweet twist of both the frivolous and the frugal. I am Frivolous Dawn, and in our family's birth order, I am the fourth of 8 dinky darlings.
Yes. And I am Frugal Miss Penny, and I am the oldest of the Dinky Darlings. So we are so thankful, and we have a hearty welcome for our returning viewers. We know that your viewing time is precious, so we don't for a moment take advantage of the fact that you have a choice. So we're grateful that you're joining us, and we hope you take a nugget away from today's show. And for those of you who are first-time guests, thank you so much for giving us a try. If you were recommended by someone, be sure to thank them. And we're hoping that today you will see that we do love our knitting community, and we're anxious to share both what we're doing and what they're sharing with us. So without any delay, grab your knitting, your favorite note-taking device, and your sense of humor, and join us for episode 27 of Frivolous and Frugal. Take it away, Dawn.
I feel like I need to play a bugle or drums or a piccolo or something.
Hey, try it.
No.
I have a cowbell.
We may have to do that. What is that around your neck? I don't think we've seen that, have we?
Oh, if we did, it was probably early on in podcast history. This is Quicksilver by Melanie Berg. I'm going to unwrap it just so you can see it. It is a delightful knit. I was just telling Dawn I would re-knit this in a heartbeat. I used a combination of yarns. So knitting community, you'll see what I did here. All of my yarns have the same fiber content, but the orange and brown are Cascade Heritage Sock. Oh. And the cream or ecru color is Malabrigo Sock. So I did that to justify the expense of the Malabrigo. I balanced it with my Cascade Heritage. So I would give definitely the fiber probably $3 signs on the frugalometer, and the pattern $1 sign because it was in a book. And you all know me by now. If I can buy a book and it has many patterns, I think that's the best bang for my buck. What about you? What are you wearing?
You had me at Melanie Berg.
I know. Your
I'm thinking,
eyes were glazed over. You had a sheepish little grin on your face. I'm so glad you came back to us.
And I have not done that Melanie Berg one, and that's in the first Shawls book, right?
It is. Mm-hmm.
All right, going on the list, even though the list is 1.5 miles long, going on. I am wearing, and I'm having a personal summer, as you call it, so I may have to take it off. This is the Inside Out cowl. In fact, let me try to, nope, I'm going to go over my headset so I won't. Malabrigo Mora.
Ooh.
Which I had to look it up. It's 100%, and then it's like bullyox or something. It was a word I didn't know, so I copied it and put it into Google. It's another name for mulberry silk. So 100% silk, and that is in that English rose colorway, which is one of their colors I like. And then it on the inside is Lang Yarns Mohair Luxe in the Mulberry colorway. This was a pattern I picked up at Elgin Knitworks a couple of years ago, and the yarn. And the pattern's by Churchmouse Yarns and Tees. Just as simple. It's a big tube, equal distance of both, and then I think I had to Kitchener it together, and my Kitchener is not the best. You know what? I forget how warm mohair is. So what I'm thinking is maybe I'll turn it to the inside where I have the silk next to me and not the mohair, and see if that helps. So what a nice thing. I also bought it in lime green when I was there. I don't remember seeing it. I know, why wouldn't you? I don't remember seeing it lately, so I'm sure it's somewhere in my stash. But now on the frugalometer, I can't remember if I got the pattern free as part of purchasing the yarn. But if I didn't, boy, listen to this, 4 on the frugalometer because it's a cowl pattern, and yeah, $8. I don't know. That's where I kind of, I'm walking my line pretty close there. But of course, you could see I did it, so I didn't walk it too close. Or maybe
Whereas I would have emailed the designer and asked if I could barter.
you would have.
I have 6 Ziplocs, 4 bread ties, and a half-used Lion brand yarn. Would you take that for the pattern?
You just made bartering a whole new thing I hadn't thought about in the knitting world. Lovely yarn, of course, silk and mohair, why wouldn't it be? But, and I didn't write down the prices. So if I had to say with Mora, maybe 3 on the frugalometer, edging 4.
Okay.
So, and I'd love to say I'm going to get better at recording prices, but I've been saying that since, Ravelry began. So if I do it once a year, that's improvement.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Hey, so do you have anything off your needles today?
I do. I only have one item though.
That's
and
all right.
that is my knit along with Miss Ann Zeistis on Ravelry. This is the Camaraderie hat.
Oh, wow.
And it actually, I think it's called the Camaraderie Beanie, and it's by Sandra Saraswati. Now, last week, you will remember I had it cast on in Lion brand Homeland, pretty silver gray. I believe the colorway was Dallas gray. However, it was just too bulky. So I frogged it, pulled out some, I'm going to say heavy worsted hand spun that I purchased at a lot sale. And it was too bulky. And not only that, it wasn't even. It was hand spun. And I didn't like the look. So I frogged that. And I went back to my good old faithful workhorse Plymouth Encore and held it double stranded. And I think you can see this beautiful pattern. Fun crown. Definitely a 1 on the frugalometer for fiber. And for the pattern, it gets probably a $4 sign from me. Haven't decided if I'm going to put a pom-pom on it or not.
I don't know. That's good. It's nice without one. That's for sure.
It is. It's number 26 of the number 45 on 45 hats by 45 designers.
Oh, gosh. So you're really moving along on that.
Yeah, but 25 is stalled out, but that's for another day or time.
Yeah, it was merely, you didn't put a time frame on there.
No, I didn't.
You didn't say like in 2020 or.
Well, nor did I promise to complete them all in their order, right?
Right.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
All
anyway,
right.
Can I just shout out to Miss Ann on this? She sent me a message via Ravelry and she said, I'm knitting it slowly and savoring it. And that's exactly what I did this week. It was on my needles and I did not rush at all. So thank you for that bit of encouragement, Miss Ann. I appreciate it. Now, I want to see what's off your needles.
I only have one, too.
What?
It is
only one?
Only one. Grand Bazaar. I know.
I know. It's not an only. It is the one. Look at that.
Boy, block that out. That's amazing. And it goes on for 90 inches.
Dawn.
Let's see.
Woo! Look at that.
It was
stunning.
76 inches before the block.
That's what it was. I thought it was a tornado siren. It was your yarn squealing that I heard last night.
Now, interesting. 14 inches wide before the block. Now it's 18. And my guess is it'll be 17 once it relaxes. So it definitely gave more lengthwise than it did width. This is in the Queensland United yarn. It's a cotton wool blend. It is in the black currant. So I know I keep looking at it thinking it's gray, but it does have a little purple hue to it. You know what? It is just the perfect length for me, that 90 inches. So yeah, and that is in the First Shawls book as well. So I'm pleased with it.
It's going to be a shop model, correct?
Yeah, for Silver Thimble Quilting Yarns in Green Bay. And you guys, I bet Nan has this yarn maybe in 8 or 10 colorways. So
Ooh.
yeah, comes in 50-gram balls and you need 4. And I had 7 or 8 grams left, so not enough to do another run. So it literally went to pattern. And the only adaptation I had to make was it initially called for a US 5 for a needle, but I thought that was a little too tight, so I bumped it to a 7 and liked it a lot better. So, or it's backwards. I'd have to look on my notes.
No, you're correct.
Okay, so I would highly recommend it. Of course, you can buy the Shawls book, or it is a paid-for Pattery on Ravelry. It's Melanie Berg, so who cares about the frugalometer? No. Again, I bought the book, so it's very real. I'd give it a 1 for the pattern, and the yarn is very reasonable. I'd maybe give it a 2
Oh,
on the frugalometer. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a DK. So.
And it looks light, even though it's a DK. Is it lightweight?
I would say it's really not DK. On Ravelry, it's listed as a DK, but I think it worked up very much like a heavy fingering.
Okay.
Maybe not even as thick as like a sport, but yeah, I will deliver that this week. And so one must eventually cast on another Melanie Berg. So I will report next week.
You're probably secretly casting it on under the table as we are recording.
I may have ordered some yarn. Okay.
Oh, do tell. For which pattern?
No. Oh, actually, you know what? I just happen to have it right here because I sleep with this book these days. I have dreamt of that pattern like 3 times in the last week.
Dawn.
It's called Mayvember. And I'm going to do it, of course, black and white. And then I've picked a darker pink, more like I don't know what you call it, more like a berry, maybe, color. So at least that's what I think right now I'm going to cast on. Because one of my 2020 goals was 6 shawls, 3 of them being Melanie Berg. And I've only done 2 this year. So that'll be my 3rd. And maybe soon after that, we'll cast on another one.
I can't
All right.
imagine.
And you know what, Penny? We forgot to do what are the mannequins wearing?
No, I know that, but it's not a big deal.
Okay.
We were going to eventually get to it, but since you mentioned it, we can go ahead and touch on them. Opal is wearing the 3-color cashmere shawl by Joji Locatelli. And I have to tell you, on my frugalometer, the fiber is definitely a 4.5, if not 5. But I had to try Leading Men Fiber Arts. I had to give it a try. I have heard so much about them. And so it is done in 3 Leading Men Fiber Arts. I have to tell you, obviously, one of my favorite shawls. I wear it frequently. I like it. And well worth every dollar sign on the frugalometer. And I thought her pattern is very reasonable. Her patterns are very reasonably priced for me. So yeah, 1 for pattern, 4.5 to 5 for fiber.
Fantastic. And she may have a sale going on right now, getting ready for her knit along. For some reason, maybe all patterns 20% off.
Ooh.
Or maybe is it that buy 4, get the 5th free? I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure if it hasn't expired, because her knit along starts September 1st.
Oh, you did tell us that.
Yeah, so yeah.
And that's for which pattern?
Any pattern.
Any pattern, okay.
So yeah, to be part of her knit along, you just have to knit any Joji pattern, and you don't cast on even, no whips allowed. And then of course she has an amazing following with amazing gifts, and you register for that ahead of time. And so, yeah.
Okay, so did you register?
Well, yes, I did. Because why not add some more projects? And it's from September 1st to November 30th. So I put on the 3-color cashmere cowl.
Okay.
And I put on, it's not. Yes, it is. It's up on my hope wall. That crescent shawl up in the corner.
Yes.
It's called Kisses by the Sea. It's an older pattern, but you know where I saw it? I saw it on your favorites list.
It is on my favorites list.
I don't know why I missed that when it was not on my favorites.
Probably
So,
because you fell asleep at the computer while you're perusing the patterns.
and I may have ordered some, do I want to confess? I may
Yes,
have
do
ordered
it now.
some,
Get it off your chest.
okay, I may have ordered some ba.
Oh, no, I didn't know about that. Dawn, are you going to do the 3-color cashmere in ba?
No, I'm going to do Kisses by the Sea.
In
Okay.
ba?
This is like, you know what, being raised Catholic, this really is kind of like confession.
It
You
is.
know what I'm doing the 3-color cashmere in? Brooklyn tweed.
You don't tell me these things until we're recording, and now I'm having a hot flash.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh, I bought it a while ago, but yeah,
it's
Brooklyn tweed Peary. Yep. So
going to be gorgeous.
yeah, you need to double dog dare me for no yarn for a while because this last week was brutal. Brutal.
Oh, no, I'm not going to double dog dare you for that. My next double dog dare will be a good one, though.
Clean. I don't know.
Hey,
Whatever.
what's Ruby wearing?
Ruby is wearing Fairyhill shawl. It was a shawl by Helen Stewart. It was part of the Shawl Society too. It is I'm gonna try not to tip her over because this is a lace and bead, and I forgot how pretty it was. Look at that.
That is gorgeous, Dawn.
And let's see if I can come in a little bit. Can you see the beads?
Yes, a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah.
The yarn is Seven Sisters Art Meridian in the white buffalo colorway. So I ordered it because I thought white buffalo would be kind of white and gray. It is a green, just as you see it. I don't
Okay.
think I've ever worn it. And when I
Well,
pulled it out, it was just like this. I didn't need to block steam it or anything. It kept that block, and we knit this in 2017.
yes, we did. And viewers, I will just tell you this. If you go to my project page, the Apron Lady, and look at my Fairyhill, you will see a perfect example for wrong yarn for the pattern. I chose
really?
a speckled. Oh, Dawn, mine is bad. It's bad. That's probably why you don't remember it. I chose the wrong yarn. So did all that knitting, and it was a crash and burn.
Yeah. So that was one of, and of course I like beads. That was maybe one of my first beaded projects, but I've learned to appreciate beads. It is a little putsy, but I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I see your arms moving. So either you're doing a Sudoku or you're knitting. Which one?
Considering my mental state this morning, it's knitting. I cast on hat number 27 or 28. Which one is it? Hang on just a moment. It is going to be hat number 27 of my 45 designers. It is called, and dare I say, I'm going to show the picture because I just loved it. It's called the Regular Guy Beanie.
I love it.
I know, I do too. It is a pattern by Yarn Man Knits, and it is being knit in Cascade 220 Superwash in the jet colorway on size 6s. We have to take a drive this afternoon, and I wanted something that I could mindlessly knit while I'm watching the scenery go by. So I just literally cast it on this morning, have maybe 4 rows of the brim, and that's it.
Wow. Do you realize your hat number is has been running pretty close to our episode numbers?
No, I didn't.
Wow.
So you know what? Yeah, that's a good thing for me to remember. That'll help keep me on track. I would like to do a hat a week so that I have everything knit by Christmas. So that's something good. Thanks for bringing that to my attention.
Well, or cast on a hat a week. That'll be your UFO projects for next year.
No, because you already had to walk me off the ledge once this week because I'm like, I just want to knit something else, but I want to get all my gifts knit. And really, I do want to get all my gifts knit. So I'm going to have to finish that.
Well, okay.
What's on your needles as I see you over there?
Well, here's my update on Festival of Stitches. I apologize for the clinking of the needles.
Don't, because it's music to our ears.
All right, you guys, it just keeps getting better. So I'm working left now. So I finished that mosaic. So here's a good comparison, how they inverse the colors. So you'll see where the solid squares are black here, and then
Yeah.
look at them white. I don't know if I like one better than the other. Do you like that one? I like them
I
both.
thought I liked that one when you were knitting it, but comparatively, that's my side. I like that side.
So now I just started. Oh, you can see it there, can't you?
Cabled. Yes, you
It
can.
is cabled. Now the other side will be black cables. So that's how they inverse. And I'm doing a couple of things. When the cable's a little more complex, I use a cable needle. When it's a simple cable, 4-stitch cable, I'm doing it without a needle. So that's a good challenge for me, is knitting with cables without a needle. So I watched the Knit Pearl Hunter video on that. So this is almost done with the first repeat. There's only 2 repeats. And so I am spot on for the pattern for the yarn too. So I'm excited about that. So this is the start of clue 4 of 6. And all the patterns now have that eyelet break. You really can't see the eyelets, but it's in that red, of course. So this is, of course, Bazaar yarn and a La Jolla base. And the specific color names are in my show notes, but I think it's Perla, Black Pearl, and maybe chocolate covered cherries or black cherries.
Chocolate cherries.
Chocolate cherries. And, okay, remember in Willy Wonka they had lickable wallpaper?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, I don't think this is lickable yarn. So pattern by Lisa Hannes. And so I am more than thrilled with it and can't wait to see it done. But it's going to be quite a few more weeks because it's just a long shawl. I think it goes 96, 98 inches.
Right up your alley.
Yeah, absolutely. So loving that.
Very pretty.
Yep. Anything else on your needles?
Absolutely. Today I should be able to finish my garter stripe jacket. Eyelet is called an eyelet stripe jacket, although it doesn't look like I'll finish, and it does look just like it did last week with the sleeve just picked up and started. But this is a very quick knit. It's a child sweater. So tonight, as Mike and I are sitting around watching television, I should be able to finish this, and I'm going to cast on my next one. So I'm anxious to share that with you all next week because it was a recommended sweater from one of our viewers. So I will give her, I'll give her the shout out, and the pattern name is in 3s. So we'll do that during our next episode. But again, this is being knit in Republic of Wool 4 on my $4 signs on my frugalometer. I'm on size 3 needles. The colorway for this is Supernova in the sock base. Yeah, easy enough pattern to memorize. So it's
that's
good.
With your 6 sweet sweaters.
6 sweet sweaters. And by the way, we just learned we have a new grandbaby on the way. So I might have to bump it up to 7 sweet sweaters because it's my understanding that they're going to find out if the baby is a boy or a girl. So I just might have to extend this too, you know how that goes.
Yeah, maybe it's just ongoing.
Well, and absolutely. So 77 sweet sweaters. 66 sweet sweaters.
400 hats by 400 designers. And maybe it's just something that's ongoing. That number changes. Once you hit your first goal, set your next one.
Well, I think I would like to do that because please don't take this in the wrong way, my sister, because you know I love you. I want to knit patterns by other designers, different designers. I am learning things that I don't know that I would have learned had I have just stuck with my favorites. Now, you can't say that for you because all of your patterns have something new in them. So you are learning new stitches and new techniques. But with hats, you really have to break away from designers to get a different technique. So that's what I'm going to do. What else is on your needles?
Moonwake.
Oh.
My first Andrea Mowry pattern. That's Drea Renee Knits. Paid for pattern. Okay, this is color work.
Woo! Look at you.
Yeah, so.
Dawn.
You know what? Oh, I'll put it doesn't matter right side up, but this was a provisional cast on. And this is where I struggled so much getting this first line to look nice. And I think I ended up with, I kept it on the 6th cast on because I really want to do color work with yarn in both hands. And I'm just going to go slow and do it. It is a knit in the round. I'm just about done with the first repeat, and you do 3 repeats. So it's not a very long project at all. And you guys, the yarn is exquisite. Julie Asselin. And she's a French Canadian dyer, and all her colorways are in French. So I'm not even going to try to pronounce them. But there's 4 colors. It's a DK. It is amazing yarn. I'd have to put her up there with one of my favorite dyers. And then I'm doing it with my friend Kathy. She recommended this. Now, these are not individual project bags. I know you were getting excited.
Well, yes, they are.
So it helps me with yarn management to keep them in here. And then I just have the yarn coming out. And that way I can move the bags around a lot easier than undoing knots of yarns. So 4 colors. It'll then be Kitchenered together. And then, oh, there'll be the Mobius twist in it. Not my colors, but it'll either make a lovely gift or great color work.
I'm sorry for interrupting. Were those the colors recommended in the pattern?
Well, no. These are the colors recommended by Firefly Fibers down in Beaver Dam. They put together, I don't know, Kathy did it. I don't know if it was a kit, but these were the closest Julie Asselin colors to the colors on the pattern. And I don't know if they're an exclusive Julie Asselin retailer around here, but I think they carry her entire line. And so if you've never knit with Julie Asselin, and again, okay, yeah, it'd go 4 on the frugalometer. Okay, maybe 5.
No, remember frugalometers are personal. So for you, maybe 4.
4, I would say.
Mine would be a 5 to the 6th power.
Oh gosh, and just happens to be living in Hank. My beautiful gift from my sister from the Fringe Bag Company.
Yes.
See, I even named my bags. Isn't that ridiculous? Okay.
Yeah,
That's Hank.
Well, Hank, welcome to the show. I have one other item on my list, but before I talk about that, do you have anything else on your needles?
I do. I started this last week. It was the Twistmas hat, and I'm gonna have to not follow that pattern because after knitting with the aunties last night, we decided the pattern was fighting the yarn because this is a fairly busy yarn. So I like the brim. And so I followed the pattern to there, but now I'm just going to do stockinette all the way up. I have to chuckle. It's going to be a vanilla hat. And then I say that and look at the colors. Not vanilla at all. So 2 strands of yarn. I showed it last week. It's a Fiesta colorway by Madeline Tosh Sock. It is very neon, held together with a hedgehog fiber sock yarn called Cheeky. And then I'm using just a white mohair that was in my stash. I'm not sure what that was. I'm going to guess an Ella Ray. And we tried it with mohair, without mohair to see if we could see that pattern better. And it just fought. So lesson learned. This will be a nice hat. Penny has some multicolored pom-poms we may try.
Oh, yeah. I do believe this is the pom-pom that's waiting to live on your hat.
Those are all the colors in here. So
I know.
Wow. Yeah. So that's just my brainless knitting. And so that will progress as meetings progress. So yeah, that's all that's on my needles.
Well, I have one last item on my needles that will bleed over into my lessons learned. So last night we were chatting. I am trying a hat pattern that I found on Ravelry called Daddy Son Hat. And this is what it looks like. And I thought, you know what? I have a son who has a son. I think I'll knit them matching hats. So new to me, this is a top-down hat using the Judy's Magic cast on to start the hat. That is not a cast on I'm familiar with. It's new to me. As many pairs of socks as I've knit, I've always knit cuff down, and I want to keep my techniques growing. I want to keep my skills sharp. So I decided to tackle this. Well, little did I know, because I did not read the pattern first, that I'm also learning one brioche stitch. Well, I have, after talking to my brilliant sister Dawn, I've realized that brioche on fingering weight yarn on size 2s may not be the best way to learn brioche.
No.
Lesson number 1. Lesson number 2, you don't realize this last night, Dawn, but after we got off of knitting with the aunties, I decided to use your suggestion to do the magic loop on 2 circs, because yes, I am so frugal. I was doing the magic loop on 16-inch needles. They were squealing, for the record. But you know what? If you use Michelle Hunter's Michelle Hunter, who is Knit Pearl Hunter's technique for Judy's Magic Cast On, she has a little bit of a tweak in there to help you so that you don't have twisted stitches. She has you put a marker on the bottom needle so that you know which one is the bottom needle after the cast on, because that's when you start knitting in the round. Now, Dawn, this is just going to amaze you, but look what I did. I decided to use 2 different color needles. So I know the cast on the wooden needle is my bottom needle.
That is brilliant.
It is brilliant, but all the credit goes to you, because you said, why don't you try knitting on 2 circs instead? Because yeah, you don't have a lot of room on a 16-inch for a magic needle. So after pondering it, I thought, well, by golly, I have 2 different color needles. I'm going to make one of them the bottom. That way I don't have to worry about the marker, and I can make sure that I always remember which one is which.
Right, and then eventually when it gets big enough, you'll just move it to a circ, right? Circular needle?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I will.
Wow.
It's a child's hat, and it's fingering weight. So I don't know.
Maybe not.
It might be a bit of a stretch. And this is the one, it's number 25 on the list. It's slow going, because here is what I learned this week. And it's something I used to tell my boys and my students. Practice makes permanent. Practice doesn't make perfect. So if you practice something the wrong way, you permanently learn how to do it the wrong way, right, or the least efficient way. All you're doing is developing muscle memory and neural pathways. But if you remember that and you catch yourself doing something that was wrong or awkward, then you can practice it the right way and it becomes permanent. And when it comes to technique, I would like my techniques to be correct, because one of these days on my bucket list is to become a master knitter. I'd like to be in a guild and be a master knitter. Technique will be something that I will be graded on.
Yeah.
And so, you know, my lesson is don't practice it incorrectly, and I was doing it incorrectly. So now I'm re-practicing it. I will learn to do it the correct way, and then it will become permanent, make some nice new neural pathways in my brain, and help me to read my knitting better. So that's what I learned this week.
You know, that's funny, because I say something very similar to my students. It's only perfect practice that makes perfect. Right? So
Absolutely.
Just like you said, we do, both of us, I'm sure, do a fair amount of unlearning people. If that's not even a word, but you know what I mean? And then it's going to take more work to unlearn something that's already muscle memory than it takes to slow down and do it right the first time.
Well, and here's a perfect example. I'm left-handed. So when I learned to knit, I was watching right-handers. Now, I know that in the scope of eternity, it's not a big deal, but I was knitting on the inside of my needles when I was knitting in the round, because I was translating sitting across the table from people. And I bet the first, 10 pairs, 15 pairs of socks that way, until I realized everyone else had their knitting on the outside of their needles. So I had practiced for 15 pairs of socks, a way that's okay, but then I can't teach others how to do it. So if I'm ever asked to teach someone, like a grandchild or a friend or whomever, I couldn't teach them the right way. So I had to unlearn that I was working from the backside, because I was trying to knit right-handed, but I'm left-handed. Long story short, I had to unlearn and relearn. And it took much longer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, my learning is not nearly as profound this week.
Hey, your last week Stop, Drop, and Roll resonated with many of our
Yeah,
viewers.
that was good. And you
It
actually,
was
it's
good.
kind of thought about that a couple times this week. Here's what I'm learning this week, and it's amazingly selfish.
Oh.
But in the words of Michael Phelps, the Olympic swimmer, when asked, what does he do to be so successful? He says, I stay in my lane. That is mind-blowing to me in many aspects of my life. So in knitting, I'm going to stay in my lane, meaning, you guys, I knit shawls. That's what I do. I knit bright colored shawls. I love black, white, pink, and red. I'm just going to do it. I feel this, that whole FOMO, fear of missing out. People are knitting some amazing colors, the golds, the browns, the oranges, but that is not who I am. So unless I'm doing it as a gift, I am just going to stay in my lane and keep doing what I love to do. And yeah, so I'm not going to knit garments. That's not who I am at this point in my life. When you are plus size, knitting garments are expensive, and I run hot. So for me to spend probably $300-400 in yarn for a sweater I would never wear, for me today does not make sense. I don't need, why would I even go there? You know what I mean? So I'm not going to go there. I'm going to stay in my lane and just keep knitting what I love to do, and then not feel any self-imposed. I'm not getting pressure from the outside. I'm getting pressure from the inside. No pressure. I'm not going to say I don't need to knit what the current rage is unless I like it. If I like it, I'll do it. Mm-hmm. And if I don't, I have plenty of books with patterns I love that I will keep knitting. And of course, I'll keep buying yarn.
And why wouldn't you?
I've got to stop. This week was a little out of control.
Well, good words of wisdom, Dawn. And actually, our words of wisdom will line up with what Nikki has to say, which we'll touch on in just a moment. We've got to leave people waiting with bated breath for her words of wisdom. So let's take a minute to talk about what's happening on Frivolous and Frugal and some upcoming events. Okay. So last night during Knitting with the Aunties, Nikki selected a winner. Well, I guess you did with the random number generator. And our winner for this episode's giveaway is going to be Knitting Mary B. Congratulations! And so Dawn will send you her your gift in the mail. Just go ahead and contact her with your mailing information, and she will get that sent out to you. So thank you, Miss Mary, for entering our Finish Fixer Frog at Cal. We so appreciate those entries. And I have to say, I thought last week's entries were show-stopping. You need to see what people posted this week. If you've not been in that thread, you need to see it. Just some beautiful, beautiful blankets. And
Mary did a pair of socks that were amazing. People who are frogging older projects and making amazing new ones. Gosh, it doesn't end. And that really, sometimes when I need a break, I just sit there and go through those pages.
Yes.
So unbelievable. And then I just wanted to give a quick shout out to our viewer, Mary. She met me at Magpie's Cottage in Sheboygan Falls last Saturday. She drove up from southern Wisconsin, and we were kindred spirits right off the bat. We chatted and knit for 4 hours. She also gave us project bags for Penny, Brianna, and myself, and she gave lots of them for giveaways for the podcast. So when we have a little bit more time, we will show you a selection of those. She was beyond generous, beyond lovable, beyond knittable, and both of us loved to chat, so it was a perfect day. It was. So you know how we always say, I left there with a full heart.
Yes.
It was amazing.
And just a quick correction, sis, it was Sandy, not Mary.
Oh, and Sandy. Did I say Mary?
Talking about Miss Mary, so I think that was just an unintentional slip.
Oh, absolutely. It is Miss Sandy, no doubt about it. And her sister came up with her as well, and it was delightful to meet her. So
how neat. How neat.
That was amazing, Sandy. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll be showing you some of her brilliant project bags in the future.
Well, actually, in episode 29, because we have a very special guest joining us for
Yes.
episode 29, so please stand by. That will be in 2 episodes. And that will be the same weekend that we have our next virtual knit night. So please make sure it's on your calendar. We will be knitting virtually on Saturday, September 12th from 7 to 9 Central Time. We try to log on a little early just in case anyone has technical difficulties. We spend 2 hours talking nothing but knitting. And you will leave there not only with oodles of ideas, but tips, techniques, suggestions, brand new wish lists. So if you are someone who really likes to talk about knitting, this is an event for you. So we would welcome you. That information for Zoom will be posted in a thread on Ravelry. And we try to always make sure we summarize what we did that night in the thread. So if you happen to miss a pattern or a fiber or an event, we try to put those in our notes.
Absolutely. I say absolutely and delightful way too much.
Don't we all? We all have those words. We learned that in Communications 101, speech, public speaking. What is your word that you repeat? Well, I do have some honorable mentions this week. Not only Miss Sandy, but you all wait until you see. If you've been on our YouTube channel, you will notice that we have a guest who frequently writes us wonderful words of encouragement, comments on our projects, and her name is Rhonda Carey. So I received a package in the mail and had no idea what it was because I did not order anything. I pretty much know what's coming in the mail. She sent me a gift that is absolutely delightful. It is from the Etsy store, the Crafting Treehouse, and she said they have wonderful, wonderful little stitch markers and items, but look what she sent to me. This is laser cut wood honeybees. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a beekeeper. Honeybee stitch markers. Are these not just gorgeous?
They are unbelievable.
Well, as though that would have been more than enough, she then sent me a pin in the same shipment with a honeybee on it.
Oh, man.
Oh, and this is a worker bee. You can tell because her abdomen is short and stubby. Kind of like my abdomen.
Mine too.
So Miss Rhonda, as I said in my email, thank you so much for being so gracious and thoughtful. Such an unexpected, delightful gift. And I am going to work very hard at using these. I'm not used to using these, but I'm going to work very hard to do so. And she would encourage all of us to visit the Crafting Treehouse, excuse me, on Etsy, if you're looking for novelty stitch markers and things of that nature.
What nice gifts for knitters, if you're looking for something.
Yes, absolutely.
Or just a little bit of bling on your own knitting.
Oh, I just have to tell you, it doesn't come easy for me.
I know. Enjoy every minute of it.
And I will.
All right. Well, I suppose before we sign off, you better tell us, what would Nikki say?
Oh, it goes right along with what I learned this week. Nikki said, this is what she would say: nothing comes easy. You just have to practice, practice, practice. And she made that correlation between not only knitting, but golf. It's all about practice and knowing going into it, it's going to take time.
Yeah.
So thank you, sis, for your nuggets and words of wisdom.
Yeah, who would have thought we'd be making analogies with golfing and knitting?
I never would have, to be honest with you.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? I think that's all I have for today.
That's all I have. So Nikki would also say, please, if you like us, please like the episode, share it with someone, subscribe. And whatever you do, encourage someone in the knitting community and share the things that you've learned.
Yes,
so,
excellent.
Yep. brings us to the end of episode 27. Dawn and I are hoping that your week will be a sweet twist of the frivolous and frugal. Have a great week. See you next episode.
See you next week. Bye.